Arthur, I have some bad news for you. This is the last time we'll be meeting.
You don't listen, do you? You just ask the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
In a world where everyone thinks they could do my job, check out this guy.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now. For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do. And people are starting to notice.
Is this a joke to you?
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
In this video, I wanted to talk about the personality type of the ENTP and why the fictional character of the Joker, who is a super villain from DC Comics and the archenemy of Batman. The movie and the personal struggle of the Joker touched me deeply because so many people are struggling with similar challenge in their life. The struggle to be unfairly treated by your parents, friends, your job, and your lover. So many people in our society feel deeply alone and are in the borderline of suicidal, second of a mental breakdown, or minute to lose their mind. Clearly, the Joker is the dark side of the ENTP, but is it? What is exactly what we refer as dark side or crazy in this society that is so full of injustice for so many? ENTP possess the gift of the debate. They can Machiavellian manipulate, but ENTP can stand unfairness. In this video, we are going to explore the psychological as well the philosophical side of the Joker, as we will then investigate the link with the ENTP and what can cause an ENTP to become the Joker, and what ENTP can do to avoid to cross this extreme line in their personality. How can ENTP balance the good and the dark in them? The Joker real name is Arthur. At the start of the movie, we see Arthur looking through a window of a train. He looks miserable, empty, and the deep loneliness that he's been feeling all his life is truly visible at the first look. Arthur looks trapped and unable to live another life. We see a sensitive man with a good heart as he interacts with the child on the train, and we can also notice the unpleasant response of the mother of the child towards him. Arthur is an outcast, misunderstood, and portrayed as strange, weird, and unintelligent by others. Arthur lives with his sick mother named Penny Fleck that he takes care of religiously. You will notice that no family name is given at the start of the movie for Arthur. It is clear that Arthur has completely devoted his life to serve his mother's interest and well-being, and that she is the only and the prime important person in his life. Arthur takes care of his mother, and in return, she validates him for being a good person. I would like to put an emphasis on this. In return, she validated him for being a good person. There is some sort of trade here that is kind of conditional. It seems that as long that you do what I want you to do, then I will validate your existence, your good side, and that I define you as a good person. This is a red flag for manipulation. This indicates that this mother is manipulative. The movie shows that Arthur takes pride in the fact that he is a good person. His mother is the person that introduced this definition of good person and what a good person is and what a good person do and don't do. His mother told him to always put on a happy face, and so Arthur felt that it is his purpose in life to put a smile on people's faces in the cold, harsh world we living in. This expectation from his mother to always put an happy face seemed to be a nice thing to request, but it's really the demand of a narcissist mother, a manipulator, that one don't want you to share your fear, doubt, and pain with them. Two, such a person will guilt you if you start to complain. Three, it's a denial of the self, a denial to be recognized. This is control. Such a request as well cover some personal motive that the person is hiding from the other. It's to blind the other to not suspect something about them. Narcissist mother dictate their children's life and the personality they should have. They interact with an image, not with the child, and who the child is. is totally rejected and not allowed to exist. Narcissist mother parentified their children, and in some cases, some mother spoosificate their son, raising them in an extremely manipulative, toxic, and mentally unhealthy environment. Such a mother make it difficult for their son to have a girlfriend or a wife. This can even go as far to shame their son to have a normal sexual needs. Some boys will repress and reject such a thing in them. We see Arthur giving a bath to his naked mother. This is a serious line that opens doors to incest in the relationship of mother and son. We also see Arthur and his mother dancing like two lovers. The spoosification of their relationship. Arthur's mother have pictured an unrealistic word to her son, a word that is good, and ignoring everything that fostered in the darkness. The behavior of Arthur's mother is more than suspicious, as she portrays herself as a good-hearted person, a saint in a way. Psychoanalyst Dr. Carl Jung will describe Arthur's mother as the devouring mother. The devouring mother consumes her children psychologically and emotionally, and often instills in them feeling of guilt at leaving her or becoming independent. The devouring mother feeds on her own fruits, her children, because they validate her role as a mother. This devouring mother archetype, who selfishly loves her children rather than selfishly, as would be better for them, she does so out of a sense of protecting them from the real world. But for some mother, this action is not just to protect the child, but to control the child and to manipulate them. However, in doing so, she does not realize, or does she not, that she is in fact permanently making them infants, either relying on their mother for the rest of their life and incompetent when it comes to living independently in the world. To do this, the devouring mother acts in a loving manner only when her children do what she wants. When they do not, she punishes them by acting in hateful, cruel, and, as its most extreme, even homicide manner. Some adults learn to punish others by using the silent treatment, and this is a behavior learned as a child by one of the parents, and this will be likely a strategy that a devouring mother will apply to her kids when they don't conform to her expectation. In the case of Arthur, his mother is using guilt to control him, so he doesn't leave her, but she also guilt him so he cannot have a life of his own. She has no thoughts about his well-being. It is all about her. She doesn't care to see him alone, aging with no one by his side. For a fact, she doesn't think twice about what is good for him. I suspect that his mother has been clinging on him in a way that he never obtained the skill to metaphorically leave the womb and establish himself in the world. Arthur has a job as a clown to entertain children, and his dream is to becoming a successful stand-up comedian. So Arthur grows up as a people pleaser or someone whose life revolves around serving others and make people happy. His mother in particular, while disregarding his own needs, he fantasizes about an audience that likes him. An external validation seems to be his life breath. There are two important key phrases here. Is disregard his own need. Is looking for an audience, an external validation that likes him and validates him. Clearly, he doesn't feel loved. And again, Arthur feels very much trapped and not even existent in his life. Later, it becomes clear that beyond the surface of Arthur's personality go a huge ugly monster that he doesn't seem to be aware of. Snipes of this monster come out sometime in the form of a laugh that he cannot control. Even though his condition is brushed off as a sickness, he later tells his mother that it's not the laugh, and the laugh are really part of his personality. ENTP are smart. They are good at analyzing people, despite they may be struggling to analyze and understand themselves. ENTP makes brilliant debater and sadly amazing manipulator. Manipulation may not be seen by the ENTP as manipulation, but as some sort of easy and too easy games on others. ENTP may even enjoy to test people to see who fall or who is hard to manipulate, to charm. Is becoming some sort of challenge. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung wrote extremely about the phenomenon called the shadow. The shadow is a set of personality traits that are undeemed, undesirable either by the person himself or the environment or both. And therefore, these traits are pushed away into unconscious. According to Jung, everyone carries a shadow, but the more it is repressed, the denser it becomes. The ENTP cognitive function indicates a shadow that is located in their TI, but more specifically the SI of the ENTP. It's located in the way they relate to others and take in consideration the feeling of others. But the same issue is applied to themselves, that most often they simply don't know how they truly feel, or they deny their feeling and emotion is truly a dangerous place to have your shadow. Arthur Clown face symbolizes the personal of the false self that we show to the environment, while the uncontrollable laugh can be considered the manifestation of the utterly dense shadow that Arthur is unaware of. After all, he sees himself as a good person. I believe that Arthur, consciously or unconsciously, are very aware of this lack, this part of himself, to not be himself and to not have a life for himself. This repression to push on himself, to deny and to sacrifice all that he is to serve his mother is something that Arthur is very aware of. Now, Arthur may not be that aware of how frustrated he truly feels, how much his needs, his personal need to have his own life is growing in him. And it is that side that he has decided to shut, to control, to ignore, that is growing deep down in him, as we so-called the monster, his shadow side. That truly, if we dare to look, this is not a shadow. This is not really a negative side of the person. This is himself, the self that is taking a battle, a stand to be recognized, to be heard. Because Arthur's mother is controlling him, is killing who he is, and something in him is still battling to be recognized, for him to recognize that he has the right to have a life. He has the right to be who he wants to be. And then sacrificing yourself for another that is taking this from you. You have no life. Something in him is demanding justice for himself, because that mother that he has is not a good person. She is a false personal. She is misleading him to believe, to not even question or discuss that he should have a life. Many people are describing that side that is coming out of him as the shadow, but I will not say that. This is not the shadow. This is the person that this is the self in him that is pushing to be recognized, pushing awakening in him to see that he's being manipulated, and that the truth is no one that cares for you will be comfortable and happy for you to have no life of yourself, to see you alone with no partner, to see you dropping everything to just take care of their needs. This is a monster. And for me, the real monster is Arthur, your mother. This is not really the real monster. The real monster is those that make you believe that all that you should be is what they decide for you. And all that you should be is to serve them and serve only the interests when your need, your interest has been totally disregarded. This is why parents that parentify specification of their children, turning their kids on some sort of romantic partner for themselves, or turning them into adults to want to take care of themselves, for the child to not put any demand and responsibility to these useless parents that is using their children, for the child to take care their own self, their sibling, and the parents that is totally immature and irresponsible. This is a violation of the child's rights. It's an abuse that some parents dare to do. And this abuse, in the case of Arthur, continue. We can see that Arthur is aged 40 years old in that movie. And this parentification to use your children to be your nurse, to be responsible of you, to be used, to be a child born just to serve your own benefit. This is what some parents are doing to their children out there. So when we see the psychologist Carl Jung talking about the shadow side, well, the shadow side is portrayed as can be portrayed as a negative side of a person. But in the case of Arthur, this shadow side is screaming for this person to realize their rights. This shadow side is not truly from the darkness, but from justice. Is pushing the person to see that they've been manipulated. Yes, the person is repressing their own need, their emotion, the life that they have the right to have. The person is going crazy. Here the person is not going crazy. They are waking up to the truth, to the reality. They are becoming, they're reclaiming their life. And how interesting, some people call this a shadow, when this is justice. This is the person that see that they deserve more than having people that don't care about them around them. In the scene where Arthur shoot the so-called yuppies that attacked him in a subway's train. At the start of the situation, we see those three guys, and there is a girl on the side. These guys start to bully this girl, and Arthur is watching this. Let me remind some of you that the personality type of the ENTP really have a very big dislike for unfairness. In this situation here, Arthur also is not truly amused by this abuse and this bully that those three guys are inflicting to this girl. We see in this scene when one of the men threw a piece of chips on the girl, that she looked at Arthur and he kind of turned away because he kind of feel powerless to help or to do something. But then he start to laugh, and he's trying very hard to not laugh because Arthur, I believe, suffered bullying when he was a child, and Arthur never really truly stood up for himself, because what we have teach him is to suppress anything that is to do with who he is. And so here he's trying desperately to not make himself notice and to not laugh because he knows he's going to get in trouble. And trouble is gonna find, despite that he truly don't want to get any trouble, but deeply he actually does, because that situation with that girl and how those boys were treating that woman was unfair. So deeply, his shadow side that we call shadow want to do something about it. You can see the expression on Arthur's faces when slowly those men are coming towards him. You see the agony in his face that's saying, "Please leave me alone. I don't want any problem." But he cannot stop laughing. The scene is kind of funny but also sad, because he doesn't want any problem, and problems are coming to him now. Arthur get attacked by the three men, and he had a gun with him, and he started to shoot two of the men in self-defense, and the other third man started to run for his life. Arthur pursued him and murdered him. We see Arthur running like crazy and terrified really to what just took place, back to his place. From this point, Arthur discovered himself really. He took a stand for himself, and he truly believed those three guys they got exactly what they deserve. For the first time in his life, he embraced not the evil, not the shadow, not the dark side, but for the first time, he embraced who he truly is. He ended this line of people pleasing others, and he did what truly was fair for himself, for this woman. Of course, I'm not saying murdering somebody is right, but in this movie, Arthur, from that point, from that moment, have dared to connect with himself. Now Arthur killing on the subway train lead to an explosion in the media. His own shadow manifestation seemed to resonate with the large collective shadow that has been growing in the poor areas of Gotham City, resulting in a violent protest with "Killed the Rich" as a slogan. The mysterious clown that killed the rich guys that worked for Thomas Wayne, a famous physician, philanthropist, and a Batman father, is seen as a hero of the city, economically marginalized. This must be a very confusing time in Arthur's life, as in one side he's been told by his narcissist mother that he needed to be good, that he's a good person, when he's serving her interests and denying himself, and that he's been repressing his need. His true self has been suppressed, denied. And now you see that the whole city of Gotham City are applauding who he is and what he did. This must be so confusing, because you've been told that be good, be a good person is the thing to be. But now you get clapped, not only to have done something bad, but to be yourself. All his life, Arthur been dreaming to have this audience that he is gonna own by his good deed, his good heart, to be a good person. But now this audience is being given to him by just being himself. This is so liberating for somebody that been kept in some kind of mental prison all his life. Jung quote that one is always inclined to lay the blame on external circumstance, but nothing could explode in us if it has not been there already. Very true. Arthur doesn't have any hatred against the rich people. But where he has a problem is the fact that some people accrue to one another these days. That some people are abusing him and other people just because they can't And this is something that Arthur doesn't like, this unfairness. It is also something that the ENTP doesn't like. ENTP doesn't like unfairness, and despite that ENTP can put the integrity on the side to be involved in illegal activities, ENTP will create their own rules of fairness to apply, punish and establish justice and fairness their own way. This means ENTP doesn't see it to be a problem to hurt someone that hurt them or keep hurting others. They see it as a giving situation, a payback, a due, a justice in himself. And the action that happened in the subway released and free him to embrace who he is. And no, he's not a crazy maniac like many are portrayed. He's just a person that were lied to for control, that were under manipulated by a cold-hearted mother that was using him and that doesn't care about him.
We went over this, Penny. You adopted it. We have all the paperwork right here.
That's not true. Thomas had that all made up. So it stayed our secret.
You also stood by when one of your boyfriends repeatedly abused your adopted son and battered you. Penny, your son was found tied to a radiator in your filthy apartment, malnourished with multiple bruises across his body and severe trauma to his head.
I never heard him cry. He's always been such a happy little
Penny. always hated that name. You know, he used to tell me that my laugh was a condition, that there was something wrong with me. There isn't. That's the real me. I haven't been happy 1 minute of my entire fucking life. You know what's funny? You know what really makes me laugh? I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a fucking comedy.
We see Arthur heartbroken, realizing that he has been used and manipulated by the person that was the closest to him, betrayed all those years, lied to. He is extremely upset, heartbroken, and also feel like the world is really full of bad people. All walls of control over his life fall apart when Arthur discovered the truth regarding his mother. He discovered the lies, the manipulation, the abuse, the control that his mother have applied on him. His mother adopted him. Arthur was adopted by Penny just to receive welfare from the government. So right from the start, her intention was to use this boy to serve her interest. She made him believe that his laughing condition from his birth. But the truth was, he had a head injury, which was made by her boyfriend. She deliberately allowed her boyfriend to physically, emotionally abuse him. And she stood by and watched and allowed it to happen over and over again. Arthur, all through his life, believed his mother, and he took care of her all through her life. She also made him to believe Mayo was his father After reading her case file in the hospital, Arthur Flex now realized that all through his life he was just used by her and was just a scapegoat. Discovering this made him decide to kill her as a revenge. We can see after the killing, Arthur looking up on the window, and we can see he have found the freedom. He is free. This weight that was imposed on him, this manipulation that he was prisoner of, have been removed from his life. The ENTP key to stability and soul need is to find and have a companionship, a companion. If that person is missing in the life of the ENTP got no wall to stop them to cross that line to embrace the Joker in them. That person is key for this personality type. ENTP feel a deep loneliness, and that partner that is with them and love them is a masterpiece in their life. ENTP view of the world is to analyze what is good and what is not. Sadly, the ENTP conclusion that too many situations and people in this world are unfair, are not good, are indeed the correct conclusion. ENTP is a personality type that will rewrite their own rule of justice, and in it, punishment and facing your doing or getting what you give will be applied. In the eyes of ENTP, true justice, true fairness has to take in consideration that you get what you give and what you are. ENTP is looking at justice in another level. They understand that many rules in our society and behavior have been abused by those that make the rules, and there are many unfair situations that is happening in our society allowed by those that should protect the fairness, but they don't. One of the issues with the ENTP approach is they seem to be too inclined to search for evidence of the good against the bad. But in reality, they are truly focused on demonstrating that they are more bad than good. This is truly manipulative, as in reality, they are looking for justification to be bad, to be dark, to apply a justice of punishment, and you get what you deserve, instead to have empathy for those that are not perfect. It seems that ENTP is looking for an excuse to simply become what the ENTP want to be, but feel maybe ashamed to be, to embrace the Joker in them about apology. ENTP suffer from some held back society requirement, the pressure that others have on them, and the inclination to have people-pleasing pressure in their personality. ENTP feel free and feel they have finally liberated themselves from everything and everyone when they incarnate and become the Joker. The ENTP find confidence to be the Joker as they feel justified to be, and so any evil and unfair action they are going to carry is justified in their mind. They justify it by feeling and believing that the world and people are bad anyway. Why can the ENTP be as well? Despite some of us can understand this reasoning, some of us can also see the hypocrisy behind the ENTP reasoning. Basically, you are a criminal, but before you commit the crime, you decide to go around collecting evidence that the crime that you planned and desire to do was justified, and so it is not really a crime. ENTP isn't comfortable to just be that self they desire to be, because that self that the ENTP desire to be is simply labeled in our society to be bad, manipulative, narcissist. The trait of the dark triad. ENTP fear the judgment of others on embracing who they truly are. ENTP take pleasure in analyzing others to see that they are not truly angels or perfect either. This whole procedure is to give them a good conscience regarding their personality, that they have noticed that they have a dark wish and impulse. ENTP linked to the personality type of INFJ get balance to realize they are good people in this world, and not because they are many bad people that this gives you the justification to be bad, to manipulate, to be involved in crime, or to abuse and use other. Unconsciously, the ENTP deep emptiness and loneliness is linked to the search for balance. That balance lay with that partner, that companion that must be in their life to prevent this individual from being involved in illegal and dangerous activities. ENTP has to accept they have a dark side in them, and it is very much part of their personality. And this dark side has nothing to do that others are bad too. They simply got this in them, and they need to use it fairly and moderately to not totally become a psychopath or insane. ENTP need to balance their needs and try to understand their feeling and needs. By kind of blaming bad and poor behavior towards others to be justified to be in a way the fault of others. The ENTP is refusing to take accountability for his own behavior and kind of always justify their behavior to be justified. It's showing a lack of immaturity and responsibility. They refuse to own their dark side, to just be something they decided to be. This is showing a lack of maturity, a parentified child that never were parented by his irresponsible, immature, and uncaring parents. The French Algerian philosopher Albert Camus, who believed that life is absurd. In his novel, we can see that when we look at the circumstance and the way life plays out, there is not much to say for true universal morality and ethic everything seemed to happen randomly. I would like to add a short paragraph regarding the Italian diplomat Niccolò Machiavelli and the highly manipulative Machiavellian way to live, think, etc. The unscrupulous schemer for whom the end always justifies the means, the Machiavellian. The early 16th century statesman Niccolò Machiavelli wrote many works of history, philosophy and drama, but his lasting notoriety comes from a brief political essay known as The Prince. Machiavelli didn't try to describe an ideal government or escort his audience to rule justly and virtuously. Instead, he focused on the question of power and how to acquire it and how to keep it. The Prince gained a diabolical reputation. Shakespeare was using Machiavelli to denote an immoral opportunist, leading directly to her popular use of Machiavellian as a synonym for manipulative villainy. Machiavelli appeared entirely unconcerned with morality, except insofar as it's helpful or harmful to maintaining power. Niccolò Machiavelli, most popular quote: "It is necessary for him who lays out a state and arrange laws for it to presuppose that all men are evil and that they are always going to act accordingly to the weakness of their spirits whenever they have free scope." And the other one is, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than love." Machiavellism referred to a personality trait that is characterized by his ability to be extremely manipulative, deceitful, and cunning, and he means to achieve one goals such as power and status. Machiavellism is a personality trait centered on manipulativeness, callousness, and indifference to morality, with a strategic focus on self-interest, by his ability to be extremely manipulative, deceitful, cunning, and unempathic temperament. And it means to achieve one's goals, such as power and status. It is one of the dark triad traits, along with the subclinical version of narcissism and psychopathy. The cause and effect of Arthur's personality breakdown is clear and inevitable. Arthur is a parentified child, manipulated, controlled, and used by his mother, that I suspect very much to be a narcissist. She is imposing an incredible unfair demand on her son, that he must always put a smile on not just other people's face but on hers. I suspect this mother to be somebody quite miserable and unstable. Arthur's mother has an unhealthy, toxic bond with her son. Not only she is exploiting him to devote all his life to her, but she also doesn't seem to care for her son and allow him to show or share his worry, stress, and negative feelings. I suspect Arthur to be a virgin, that he never had a normal childhood or been allowed to grow up as a normal adult. Arthur has been suppressing his negative feeling and desire for most of his life, and so I suspect Arthur to carry deep anger and resentment toward others, himself and his mother. Arthur knows that he is trapped by his mother. Arthur's rejection, suppression, and abuse toward his true self has been encouraged by his abusive mother that is really taking advantage of him. Arthur knows this and is kept a prisoner to gain validation from her. It is the reason why he is so desperate to get validation elsewhere. Arthur was raised as a people pleaser, but also he has some trait of narcissism that are desperate to gain narcissist supply. Now, let's look the link between the character of the Joker and the personality of the ENTP. I already mentioned few points regarding the Jokers and the ENTP previously in this video. The ENTP cognitive function TI, and especially the SI, is problematic as the ENTP struggle to connect what is feeling and emotion. It is also where any shadow personality will grow. The ENTP share common trait and need. Like the Joker, ENTP are also inclined to seek an audience, to seek validation from other people and approval. This people-pleasing tendency is also found very much in the personality trait of the ENTP. The truth must be said regarding the ENTP personality type. ENTP are attracted to the power of the dark side. They are seduced to the power of manipulation and manipulate other and situation to benefit themselves. The Machiavellism is in the ENTP. The ENTP from early age were interested to explore and understand what is good and what is bad. The easy conclusion is that the world and people are dominated by the bad, and indeed they are using manipulation, using other for one mean, is dominating our society. It is not hard for the ENTP to collect the evidence that he needs to reinforce, encourage, and justify his action, to embrace all the Machiavellism traits in them. ENTP justifies such a decision based on the fact that everyone are bad, and using manipulation, cunning, cheating, punishment, betraying, and thinking primarily about ourselves, oneself, our own benefit, our own interests, and what we can get from other, and the situation is the norm. ENTP is not taking any responsibility toward the suffering that they may have caused to others, as in their mind it is justified, and ENTP also don't see themselves as a bad person, as in their mind everyone is bad. This is a very maladif and manipulative way to see things. The ENTP that think this way are mainly ENTP that lack parental care as a child, as the whole approach can be linked to immaturity. It is not because others are doing bad that this gives us the justification and the green light to do worse. Good people with moral maybe are in minority, but they are still respected and applauded in this world. They play a big part in this world and in people's life. At the end of his life, Niccolo Machiavelli lost his title and were tortured and vanished. Despite that the character of the Joker is primarily noticed and uploaded to be a great villain, I think everyone have truly missed the point regarding this character. This character should be uploaded for breaking free from a manipulative situation where his kindness were abused by somebody that was exploiting him. This is what this character should be uploaded for. And we should also notice how lonely, sad this character is. And this character has good inside himself. That what truly touched this character is fairness. The same that what touched deeply an ENTP is fairness. It is, in a way, justice, but applied in another way. Life is hard for everyone, even for the rich, and guilting others or blaming others for who we are and what we have done doesn't make it right. It is for this reason that I see such a person to be lacking maturity, as they are not taking responsibility for their own self. Taking responsibility for our own self is not letting loose unfairness and abuse that others have subjected us. Taking responsibility and reclaiming herself, reclaiming her power, give us the opportunity to see that we have the power to have the life that we want. We have the power to have the people that we want in our life. And we have the power and also a duty to play a role, an important one in this life, in this world. And that, yes, the reality is many people are struggling through their life, like this character, the Jokers. This is why the character of the Jokers, when he become bad, is admired, because deep down many of us are going through unfair situation. We love somebody and that person uses us and see the way we are with them, that we want to love them, help them, be with them, see it as an opportunity to abuse us and to use us, to cheat on us, to lie to us. And the worst things of all is when the parents abuse their little children. Not only they don't give them love, but they don't give them any care. They don't care about their own children. They manipulate them. They make them feel there is something wrong with them, that they are not good enough, they are not deserving. They leave them behind, they punish them, and all sorts of things that the parents should not do. And should not do to vulnerable little children that is theirs. And even if it's not theirs, a child is totally helpless and vulnerable to the adult that they have in their life. And so this is really the worst sin of all, when a parents abuse a child when they are little and continue to abuse them, manipulate them, and put them down as they grow up as an adult. In this movie, one big transformation that we see from Arthur is this confidence There's no apology to be now who it truly is. He say and do and act really and truly in alignment of who is truly is. So the personality have aligned with his feeling, emotion, and he's honoring himself. This is what we see as a transformation of this character of the Joker in this movie. ENTP need to be careful on whom they are using their so-called skills of manipulation. They may push good people away from them and keep only people like them around them. This will reinforce the loneliness that this personality carry deep down themselves. INFJ is indicated to be the best partner for ENTP, but this manipulative trait with no code of honor and morality goes totally against the DNA of the INFJ. But INFJ balance and heal the ENTP. It may explain why the ENTP doesn't fully transform as a Joker for some of them. The key for ENTP to not turn to this dark side of the character of the Joker is to connect with self. I would like to remind everyone that your true self never give up to be discovered by you. It is that reason that we call this split of personality, this transformation, the shadow. It is not really a shadow. It is your true self that is fighting to reclaim your right to stand up for you when injustice, abuse have been done to you. ENTP has to have this companionship, that partner that loves them for who they are, that validate them not because they did something to be validated and approved of, but to just be a human being. They need to find that partner that has a good heart. And ENTP need to avoid to be with a partner that doesn't have a good heart, that is again another narcissist woman that is going to use them, that don't care about them, that they need to work so hard to please, to convince of their value and worth. And alone ENTP is dangerous. ENTP may develop a broken self like the character of the Joker. ENTP need to have balance between the good side and the bad side and use the gifted skill that they have to convince others, what they call manipulation. Use that skills not to get what one is serving his own interests, but use these gifted skills that they have and they were born with for the cause of the good, for defending those that are going through what they've been going through, to give a voice to those that are unfairly treated, to bring a difference to this world. We can go around and looking for evidence that all around they are more bad than good, and yes, we will find very easy that yes, the bad is dominating this world. But that does not give an excuse to not see that who we are and what we can do in this world can be in the benefit of the good, and that has more weight than just following the crowd and be bad because around us there's only bad. This is not a justification to just be like everybody else. This demand to be different. And the Joker, despite that we just focus on his bad character, is challenging this abuse, this manipulation that the society and other people are imposing on other people.